Good morning, Sarah and Sabah. How are you two doing today?
Good
All
morning.
good in the hood.
Yeah, literally, I got the hood on today. Got the hoodie. So, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Love Jam. We're here to work on conflict. And why do we do this? Sarah, you had a wonderful post where you actually talked about this, right, in the WhatsApp group, that sometimes we have this belief that a great relationship equals no conflict. And actually, I'd propose to you, just like you did, that the conflict is actually part of the relationship. That's how we grow, is that we go through the conflict. We don't avoid the conflict. And so I'd love to have you talk a little bit about that. Like, what inspired that statement when you put it in the WhatsApp group?
Um, for me, it was coming to these so regularly that things started to click differently in my mind that I used to want to just avoid it or I would just explode. And neither one of them was working.
So when you say explode, was that because you would hold back for too long and then eventually just stack too high and you'd have to get rid of it? Or was
Yeah,
there
like
something else going on?
no, yeah, I would say for a while it was stacked for so long that then it was like one too many times and I was like I've had enough and this is how I feel, and it happened with, you know, like in an intimate relationship, it happened with the kids, it happened with other things like but now I like it because I could just say how I'm feeling and then, and not have it be like
No, you're exactly right. So I talked about this in my TEDx, right? Is that when we don't talk about something, it's like we're starting to stack bricks and creating a wall between us and this other person. And I think that this even gives another metaphor, is that they aren't like bricks that are glued together. They're
Mm.
very loosely stacked, and that when they get too tall, they fall and someone gets hurt. And so I think that's a lovely metaphor. And so yeah, that wall comes down temporarily, right? But the bricks are still there. They're just now a big mess that we get to clean up. And so how do we clean it up? Well, we start stacking them again. Right? And so we repeat this process over and over and over, and it's all avoidance. Avoid, explode, avoid, explode. And that's a typical pattern. And unfortunately, in today's society, today's environment, we're not getting any better at it. We're actually taught to avoid it. We have the keyboard warriors, right? And so we create this experience online where we can just vomit terrible things all over people like it doesn't affect anyone. We've had some experiences and we see it on our own social media, right? Because we talk about our age gap relationship. And now apparently there's even a thing called the Oxford study, which there was something new that I learned this week, is that's when a younger Asian woman is dating an older white male, and that there's some study that was done in the past that people have misinterpreted that said, hey, yeah, this is like this bad thing.
See, it's
Like,
very common. We're normal.
yeah, yeah, it's so common that there's a study on it, so I think that's kind of cool.
The equivalent of the Harvard study.
Yeah.
Happiest relationships.
Yeah, actually, that was true. That's the funny thing. It's like they're picking on it because we look happy. It's like, oh, that's so terrible. Yeah, can you imagine how much pain has to exist in somebody that they have to go online and try to tear other people down so that they can feel better about their life.
Mhm.
And this
There's
is this is how we're trained.
there's also a great thing that we read yesterday about how people want to heal first. They want to heal themselves and then be independent. And then when they're fully healed, then they're going to move on. They're going to enter into their next relationship. And there was a bunch of quotes. Is it Carl Jung? Was a bunch of people that say you heal through the relationship, right? Like we said with some of the folks in the bees, you get the learnings when you're in breakdown in the relationships,
Yeah.
learning about yourself. It's not to avoid people, but we learn through our experiences with people. I thought that was really profound.
And that's very aligned with our own experience. Annie and I were not these two perfect beings that came together and created a perfect relationship. And it was like Snow White, Prince Charming going off into the sunset. It was far from that. Well, maybe it was actually quite like that because there was like the evil part that was out there, the shadow that we had to fight through, right? For each of us. And as you both know, we had that experience with family. Like there were still battles to be fought, and the battle is what made us stronger together. So the purpose of this show is exactly that. It's continually practice these skills. Actually, Layla Hormozy was talking about this with her team, and she did this little video saying, she actually teaches her team not to avoid conflict ever. If there's conflict, go deal with it and practice being neutral. And I thought that was lovely the way she put it is practice being neutral. But what she was talking about, and this I say but, I don't really like to say it, so I'll change that to and what could be even better with what she was doing is to emphasize practice. She was saying to practice neutrality during the event. I would suggest that what we get to do here is to practice the event to learn neutrality. Practice it over and over because if we do it in this light experience and we're able to be neutral, when we practice it, we get it into our system over and over, then the event happens. And it's like, oh, I've seen this before. This is not a big deal. It's much easier to be neutral. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, both of you.
Sabah.
Sabah, the Tony Robbins trainer. Welcome to the show.
Hey! Um, yeah, it's really interesting and it's important to practice when you are not in a negative state or at survival, because you create that memory muscle or new neurons in your head. And so when you get into that state or that situation, um, it'll be a little bit easier to practice. It'll be a little bit easier. Because in the past, when I was in my previous relationship, there was an issue that used to happen, and I would say to somebody, I'd be like, every time I go to the sink, I remember it. They're like, okay, we'll try and practice remembering it when you're not at the sink, because obviously the sink is like a trigger or an anchor for whatever the situation or issue was. Um, and it just meant when you're in a state of calm, you can think clearly, you can practice. So when you're playing the actual game, this is just your training ground. Um,
That's
yeah.
right. And there's what I really like about that too is that you recognize, okay, there's this trigger that's tied to a sink. And so that was programmed because of some experience. Knowing that you can tie a trigger that way means you can also tie a trigger to other things, and they can be positive experiences. We hear triggered, and we think this is some negative thing. Actually, triggered is awesome. It's just what is it triggering? Like when I go to Disneyland, I am triggered like crazy. I smell that sweet smell of like churros in the air, right? And we hear the music. And all of a sudden I'm in this like peak state, like which ride are we going on first? I'm like a little kid again. It's like I'm 8-year-old John running through the park, like ready to go on the like Splash Mountain. Is that first? And I go back to these memories instantaneously of being there with my best friend when I was 7 years old. And it's a wonderful experience. That's a trigger also. So how do you intentionally create positive triggers? And maybe one way to do that, like one way to get rid of these negative triggers, is to stack positive triggers related to the same things. Like how, Saba, could you possibly stack a bunch of positive triggers to being at the sink in order to erase the negative triggers associated with it?
I could have really good memories by having music, dancing, singing when I'm at the sink. So that's like my go-to place. Um, yeah, singing, dancing, they're great anchors or triggers to
Yeah.
have. I'd be like, I'm going to the sink. This is my dance, my alone time.
Right? And so now you have this new association that it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just recognizing it. So we talked about this in like our mastery course, as both of you know, is just notice. It's like when we notice our trigger, then we can unstack the trigger by stacking new positive emotions to the exact same trigger. And so it's like we get to manipulate ourselves. It's just with intention. We're already manipulated. So you might as well do it with intention now. So reprogramming. Boy, this is not where I intended to go this morning. Speaking of that, I just had such a positive experience. I go back, by the way, when I see the two of you exactly where you're on the screen, for us, Sarah, you're on the left, Saba's on the far right, we're in the center. I go back to the first call where Sarah came on because Saba introduced you to this call.
I can't
And
wait to
with
share.
that, I think Annie is very anxious.
But we want to introduce Sabah first.
Well, we could just do that and then do the introduction too.
So,
So we're going to do the wheel to see who is going to practice conflict resolution today.
I think it should just by default be Sabah because what's
Oh,
yours?
that's an interesting idea.
so
Let's see how it ends up.
let's
I just my name, I just realized. Oh, jokers. Absolute jokers.
Oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
Who was
Oh,
it?
wait,
still going.
it's still going.
Still going. Sabah.
Saba, it's such a surprise. Oh, that is funny.
Did that land on Sarah?
It really did the first time, but it didn't quite stop.
It stopped.
Brilliant.
So,
You know, we never know when
What were
these
the
things stop.
chances?
it's
What
like
were the
1 in
chances?
12.
Wow.
So that is awesome. So with that, last week we did not hit the record button. So we did not get the full intro of Saba, but that means you had a full week to prep. And now what we get to
Ugh.
do is this, and you get to do a full introduction of Saba. Tell us about yourself,
Hi.
Saba, all the fun stuff about you, what you do in this world, what you want to do.
I am Sabah. I've joined Love Jam last year, I think all the year before in December, January, and it came at a interesting time in my life, but it was a brilliant anchor of love and positivity, and I've seen it grow. And as it's grown, I have also grown, and I had a lot of structure in my life because of Love Jam, and I've been able to accomplish a lot in the last year, um, which was a official separation. It was getting my book finalized and finished and published. It was signing up to my NLP practitioner course. It was focusing on all my Tony Robbins events. It was also joining different programs to have fun. So I did pottery, I did, what else did I do? Art class, I did improv. And I had my first improv performance last week, which was amazing, because somebody said that I sang really well, and I don't think I can sing, so I just thought that was really hilarious, as well as um, being focused on those things that are important, which is four categories: health, wealth, relationships, and fun. And I've changed my relationship with myself. It's not all or nothing, there is an in between. Just like Sarah said, it's not, well, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's not like explode or nothing. There is an in between. And Love Jam is a beautiful place to practice, not exploding and new neural connections. So thank you.
Oh, I love that. And we've seen your growth just over the last year, and I think certainly you would have been achieving a lot of that because that's just the kind of person you are also. And thank you for the acknowledgments of how we've been able to support you, especially as a community. I believe what works in this environment isn't just, that John and Annie are here, it's that there's a community of support, of loving people that are willing to take a stand for themselves and also for each other. It's to call each other forth, not out. And you've been a big part of that. And then getting to see you, put on that trainer's jacket for Tony was just so cool. So congratulations on that. And I think there's a lot more to come for you. So with that, Tell us something about you that we don't know, that not even Sarah knows, like something
A
fun,
fun
a
fact.
fun fact. And by the way,
Sarah, did you know I
congratulations
used
on
to
your
play?
book. I forgot to say that. Congrats on your book.
Thank you.
Make sure that we put that out there onto the WhatsApp also, so we can get lots of copies sold. But go ahead,
Oh,
fun fact.
thanks. Fun fact. I don't think Sarah knows. I used to play ice hockey. That is Sarah. Oh yeah, Sarah may know because I like Mighty Ducks. No, you don't know. Okay, so I used to play ice hockey, up until a couple of years ago. That was a thrill of my life. Like I can talk about it and I get so excited. It is so much fun being on the ice, and you can just go fast and be free, and you don't worry so much about getting hit because you're so padded up. And I find it's much safer than figure skating, believe it or not. So yes, ice hockey.
So what had
Oh,
you pause?
I I had a concussion. It took me a long time to recover. So it took me about 2 years to recover fully. So it wasn't worth it at that time to go back. But you can see in my head, I think about it, I'm like, should I go back? Should I go back and try it? But my focus is on other things. But yeah, see, I wouldn't have stopped hockey. I mean, I'm 40 now and I would not have stopped playing hockey. So God was like, no, I need to hit your head so that you stop playing because you need to focus on other things right now. So I'm very grateful for that.
Or-
Oh, that was joy. That was like a childhood dream come true because I could not skate until 28. I tried and then I learned how to skate at 28 and then took lessons and at 29, I think at 30 I started playing hockey, ice hockey.
so it's so interesting. You also said that hockey is safer than figure skating.
I feel it's safer than
Okay.
because generally if you fall you don't hurt yourself, and I did have a helmet on when my head got hit but I just didn't realize I was concussed so I just carried on playing. Um, but yeah, it was, yeah. It's so thrilling and being free. It's like any sport. You play, you're by yourself, you're in the zone. But I think hockey's what the fastest sport in the world, so it's just a whole new thing.
Oh, we absolutely love hockey. We had the opportunity to go to the Stanley Cup Finals game,
Oh,
Golden Knights, when they won the cup here in Vegas. We were there. It was like such a cool experience, right? So anyway, we love hockey. What I love about it, first off, is these guys are like the size of linebackers on an NFL team. They're not small guys, right? They're big. And then they're skating around on knives on ice, slamming each other into walls. And when they get hurt, right, they pretend they aren't hurt so they can keep playing. Unlike soccer, they pretend they're hurt so they can stop playing. It's it's so incredible. And I love that there's really no breaks. Like the only time there's a break is because there's a fight or there's a penalty or something like that. Otherwise, it's just these short little stops and they're constantly moving.
on the go,
I
on the
think
fly.
it's the most incredible sport to me that exists. So big fan
Oh
of ice
yeah.
hockey. Yeah.
That's funny because you said they're like what NFL players, but you guys have seen that I'm sh a bit shorter than a NFL player. Um, so yeah, our rules for women are a bit different. We don't check as much as the guys do, I guess, because our bodies are different. Well, in the UK anyway, the rules are a bit different. But yeah, that seems like fun. You guys are so blessed to have gone to a Stanley Cup final. Wow.
It was so incredible. So that was the last season we had season tickets. And I was just like, you know what? I don't think we're going to do this again. And then there was this, we were supposed to like decide whether we wanted the playoff tickets and you had to opt in or well, you had to opt out. I was a day late on opting out. So I got stuck with these tickets. And I'm like, I can't even go to all the games, but I have to buy them now. So on that particular game, they had think they won the first three, then they lost one, and then they came back home. Like, well, we're just gonna go. We'll just forget it. We already paid for the tickets. It was like $1,000 a ticket to go to the darn game.
Flipping hell.
Right. And I couldn't
That's
sell them for $1,000 each. Just forget it. We're gonna go. And then they won. It was like, and then it was like, how are we even gonna get out of town or get out of this area to go
yeah.
home? So we got a hotel room at the New York, New York. and hung there for the night. It was just such a cool experience. Everyone's celebrating. There's a parade, all kinds of cool stuff. So,
That's so cool. Annie, what
anyway.
did you think of the hockey?
He can go on talking about hockey forever. So we're gonna start playing this game.
Yeah, I saw that was coming. By the way, the Knights lost last night. It was terrible. In a shootout.
So you're gonna be role playing with the one male on this call, and we're gonna do something new. So you're gonna spin this next wheel, which has five different scenarios, which you have no clue what they are. But we're gonna have you spin the wheel, Saba. Are you ready to spin the wheel? We need some music. And your choice is, oh, this is a good one. GPS versus intuition. And so the fight that you're going to have is um, one person trusts Google Maps religiously, the other insists they know a faster way. This guy insists that he knows a faster way, and you end up lost.
Clearly, I'm not driving. Clearly. There's no way we're lost.
Yeah, so you don't think he doesn't think he's
But
lost.
I'm not
But
lost.
the fight is in the aftermath is that Saba, you insist on following directions. But your
So
man,
we're fighting after the fact.
yes, you're fighting after the fact because
So we definitely weren't lost. We got to where we.
yes,
Okay,
but
got
it
it.
felt the experience, it just took so long. It just felt like you guys were lost and so much time was wasted. And this is what he always does. Because really, and this is actually factual, is will go a different way than the GPS. I'm like, what are you doing?
I
Like,
know a faster way. And even
but
if I get lost, I'll be making great time.
all right. Do you have any questions, Saba?
Am I following that structure from last week or just
So
go
the
with it?
first time is resolve it. So this is after the fact, right? This is a couple hours later, you've arrived at your destination, but you want to address this. And so the first time you address it as you would normally would.
Oh, John.
All right. Okay. So three, two, one, action.
Uh, John, it's really great that you are so intuitive and so just kind of go with the flow type of person and have that certainty within yourself to know which way to go, which direction to go, and even if it's the wrong way, we'll probably get there
Wait,
anyway.
wrong way. What makes you think we went the wrong way? We got to where we were supposed to get.
I hear you. It was so funny because the outcome's the same. We will get there. We'll always get there, whether we get there that
Yeah,
day,
we
the
got to
next
see
day, the
like
other
parts of the
day.
city we never see. It was awesome.
It was. Um, and because of that, we kind of missed out on the time we could have spent at the actual place we went, like Disneyland. We could have spent more time at Disneyland if we maybe followed the sat nav. Because you see, even though you're a genius and you're super smart, super clever, sometimes the sat nav can see stuff we can't see. Like
No,
it
I
knows
think
there's
it's really
traffic.
about, it's not about the destination. It's the journey to the destination that really matters. I mean, that's what you teach me is it's the journey of life. As a Tony Robbins trainer, you talk about that all the time.
I totally agree, the journey of life, and it's about the journey and the freedom and being flexible. I also feel like sometimes if there's like an outcome and we're on a time limit, then perhaps we should stick to the sat nav
Well,
as
but come on, your mentor doesn't stick to any timelines. Why do you want me to stick to timelines if that's really the structure? He starts when he wants for these events. He ends whenever he wants. He takes it, he never follows any structure. But now you want to force structure on me?
Do you know what? He is so well structured that it doesn't look like he has structure. It's like he follows the GPS, but you have no idea. Um, and he gets the outcome. He gets the outcome.
Did we not get the outcome?
We did, but we were a bit delayed. Look, John, what I'm trying to say to you is I appreciate when you want to enjoy the journey, be flexible, just go with your heart and spirit and just see where it takes you in the car. Like I'm totally up for that. You know me, that's my kind of thing. But when we're on a time limit, like I end up having to go into like masculine mode and I end up looking like I'm being a little bit bossy because I'm like, well, we need to get here by X amount of time. And if we followed the sat nav, we'd probably get there by X amount of time. And then we'd have like more time to spend together. And we'd have more time to go on the Disneyland rides, the splash thing you mentioned or whatever it was called.
Yeah, but remember, I got the ticket. We didn't wait in a single line because I bought that like really cool Genie Pass. We got to the front all over the place. We even left the park early because we had ridden every ride twice. So I'm still not really seeing what the problem is. Is it just that you don't like that we didn't follow your timeline?
I guess it's not about my timeline. I just want you to be able to see what's important.
No one's ever going to want to do this with me again.
Oh, Annie, we feel for
Never.
you.
Telling you, I try to do like a mock sales practice with this guy because he's really good at what he does, and it is so hard. So first of all, well done, Saba, because he's one tough cookie. Um, so congratulations on finishing up.
Congrats on survival.
Yes. What was your experience during the conversation, Saba?
Uh, he, he was so ridiculous that he made me laugh a lot. Like
Good.
some of his comments, I was like, are you a psycho or something? Like, do you not get the point? Uh, and then, my experience was, I think, because he was so ridiculous, I couldn't get angry at him because he just wasn't making any sense at all. There was no logic behind what he was saying to me, which made it a lot easier to not get angry and just find the whole situation funny. Um, I guess even if I was wrong, which I was not, but even if I was wrong with the GPS, I would have wanted to, as a partner, I would have wanted him to kind of see my side and just be like, well, it's not really a big issue. If that was important to you, cool. But I think with the fake John, it seemed like he could not adjust from what he felt was the right way for him to do things. Um, and he seemed like a very free flowing guy, which is great, but sometimes you don't need to be like that all the time.
I will assure you that was not the fake John.
Hence the inverted commas speech mark.
So let's bring on Sarah. All right,
Oh, you
Sarah.
don't want my feedback, huh?
No, you'll do it at the end.
Okay.
Sarah, what was great? What could be better? And a score, please.
Uh, Sabah, you were amazing. I mean, I felt bad the minute that Annie said that you're going to do this with John. I thought the way that you kept your calm, that you were very appreciative of him. I think you were so appreciative that it almost seemed like you forgot what you were mad about. That you were just very grateful. I think you called him a genius at one point. So then, then it was like, are you mad or are you? I mean, you're just calling him a genius. I don't know what the problem is. Um, so yeah, so I give you a 7. I think what could be better would just be being more clear what it is that you wanted. Um, because we know what the conflict was, but like in the process of it, it almost seemed like there was a lot of flowers. Like, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like, and there was so much of it that then I think you were almost waiting for him to guess what you wanted, was my feeling. Yeah,
And score.
7.
Oh, she said 7.
7. Awesome. So my feedback is I think I think you did really great in addressing his curveballs. Like despite him trying to throw you off, but there was still a conflict that you wanted to address because a lot of times, when someone introduces new facts, it's like, oh yeah, okay, well, it's not a problem, even though there really is a problem. I thought you did really well in acknowledgement and having the other person open, right, to even receiving the conversation. And your tone was also light and playful. It was not heavy at all. So it didn't feel like something that someone would want to avoid. What could be even better, very similar to what Sarah said, is I noticed there was a lot of fluff in the acknowledgement that took away from the issue that was being addressed. And I think that also facilitated him to be more facetious and silly than he otherwise. If he had known it was more of a serious issue that you had felt something, he would have addressed it perhaps differently. Maybe not. I don't know. He might have thrown you a curveball. Um, and and then I think towards the end, what I felt was there was a little bit more frustration of like, okay, come on, we're not really getting anywhere. And then that's when it came out. There's almost like a fierce side that came out that sounded like we were a victim of something, right? Like because you did this, I had to go into my masculine, da, da, da. And so it was kind of like a shift from the massive acknowledgement to then I'm frustrated, I'm not getting the outcome, and then that. So that might be received um, harshly by someone who is not ready for something like that. So I would give you a 6 just because it didn't seem like you had felt resolved of your conflict. But overall, I think I would have gotten like a 0 in that situation.
I know
So,
that's sorry.
so first off, Sabah, that was fun. So thank you for that and keeping it light and going with what I was throwing at you. I thought you did really well with that. I thought you did great with the acknowledgments along the way. Um, what could be even better is being clear that, hey, this is important to me and to grab my attention early, that this is important, that I'm hurting, and I want to be able to express my feelings. I went the route I did intentionally because of what was occurring in the conversation. I didn't really know how important it was. And this is actually a real experience of how I deal with Annie, actually. So when she said, yeah, that's what John does, I completely do that. If I don't know that it's really important and serious, I start joking around. And then I find out later that it's actually serious. I'm like, oh shit, I just screwed up for like the last 5 minutes. And then what happens in my head is I start beating myself up that I didn't know how important it was to her. So I'm really grateful that I got to have this experience too. And then I can just share with you reels like, yep, this is me goofing around like this, not taking it serious until it is. So I'm going to give you a 5. And the 5 is um, for 2 reasons. One is because you kept it light and fun as I was doing that. Um, but the low side of it is because I didn't know what the problem was really and what was actually bothering you. And we didn't set the stage at the beginning and then it just went off the rails. So,
I think if you were to practice with Brian that came on, I think you'd have gotten a 9.
well, no, Brian might have a similar habit
That's
as
true.
me.
Never mind. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not firing on all cylinders.
So Brian, what you missed is we tried to resolve me not following the GPS to get to Disneyland, and I just did whatever the heck I wanted to, and we were late to Disneyland. But we got to go on every single ride twice, so I don't even know what the fucking problem is.
All right. So Saba, this time we're gonna give you 2 minutes now that you have all this feedback and you know how to manage.
Before we do that, let's
Yes, I forgot
reland
about
the structure.
this.
Would you mind sharing the
Yes,
structure?
I forgot about that. Yeah. So the structure that could work, that works, so we're practicing throughout this, is we start with, as you know, the experience of the event. So just facts, right? And sometimes we tend to make the facts sensational. When I'm talking to my girlfriends, I tend to make things more dramatic and more true than they actually are. So the purpose of it is just the facts, um I'll use a different scenario. I noticed that I missed your call, that and then and when I called back I didn't receive a answer. right? So it's very I own it. These are just what happened.
And if I may, before we get into the experience, I would encourage a pre-frame.
Oh, yes.
And what that might sound like is, hey, sweetie, I'd like to talk to you about something that's really bothering me. I'm not really asking for a change. I need you to just listen to me for a few minutes so I can get this out there so you can hear what's going on in my head and in my heart.
Yeah.
Could you give me a few minutes? And a simple pre-frame, like, and we're good.
Yes, that's really important.
Like, our relationship's
Yeah.
good. I just want to be able to share what's going on. Because now what that does is it immediately sets the tone of this is important to me. And the odds of me joking around with that start becomes
Yeah.
like zero because I know this is important, right? And the odds of me paying attention for a few minutes as a man go way up because you told me it's just a few minutes. This is not a 3 hour breakdown. It's a couple of, just like, yeah, I can do 3 minutes. Turn off the squirrels, right? Like,
And this is where the acknowledgement can come in too. And I'm sharing with you because I really want, I really value our connection. You're a really important person in my life.
respect you
Yeah.
and all that.
So
Yeah.
there you go. So now we go into the facts and then how I'm feeling, right? So, I was feeling sad, scared, mad, your 5 options, happy, excited, which may not be relevant in this case. And the story, third part, the story that I made up, super short, right? Story that I made up was that I didn't matter, that whatever. And I know that's not true because, and this is the part that we make it much longer. This is a part where we really are interrupting our own patterns. That's the whole purpose of this script, is that we are training ourselves to break our stacking, you know. And I know this is not true because, and then this is where you get very specific because I know you made me coffee this morning, you helped us set up, I know you love me. Okay.
And let me jump in real quickly. This is what we were just talking about with the sink. We are restacking these past experiences to this event. And now this event is no longer some negative thing. Like, oh my God, remember that time we drove to Disneyland and you da 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 da. It instead is this big stack of positive experiences tied to that moment of remember that time we drove to Disneyland and like you went all over this city. It was crazy. Like you didn't follow GPS. It was the most amazing experience. I know we were late. We didn't da da da. But now there's the memory that is positive.
Yeah. And then the final is the request, right? And what I'd love to have in the future is blank. And often what we find is that at the end, there is nothing for the other person to change because I've done such a good job interrupting my pattern and creating this new story. So, in the future, I don't want you to do anything. Just, I don't know.
Just want you to know
Yeah.
how I was feeling. Sometimes that could be it, is you already
Sometimes
met
it
that
could be,
request.
in the future, I don't really want you to change anything. And I really just appreciate how you just listened and let me just empty out for 2 minutes. It's really helpful. Now you're reinforcing the pattern you want to reinforce.
And you also are like giving that person a dog treat, right? It's like, good job, just listening like I asked. So that's the structure. We have found that this works. It works, by the way, everywhere. We use it in our relationship. I use it with the kids.
Work.
I use it at work. I use it all the time at work. Just go through that same thing. It's different language, right? If I'm talking to my bride, it's going to be one conversation with a set of words. If I'm talking to a contractor in the field, I will not be saying sweetie.
Or the story I made up. Or actually,
Yeah.
you might say that.
Sometimes I might say that. Say, you know what? While that was happening, I was starting to think about da 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 da. I know that's not really true. I know that you really want to do a good job out here, and that hey, this just went off the rails a little bit. We got to get it back on the rails. My request of you is that you build it per the fucking plan. Uh, all right.
With that, any questions, Saba?
No, I'm good. Oh, have you got a timer? Is there a timer I can see?
Yeah.
Or
So you'll have to turn on your video so she can see the timer.
She'll see. It comes up.
It doesn't.
oh, okay, I just wasn't
Oh, I guess
looking.
it's up the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up the top of the screen. There'll be a timer. You'll see.
All right.
Amazing.
And 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, John.
Nice, Sabah.
I wanted to know um if we could have a quick convo just to talk about something that's been on my mind. There's nothing going on with us. It's just something that I want to clear off my head, if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going
Okay.
on?
So, I don't know if you remember, we went to Disneyland the other day and we got there a little bit late and my instruction when we left was to follow the GPS, and I appreciate that you wanted to follow your own route, so you followed your own route through your own brain. Uh, and
Yeah, I do
it
that
made me
sometimes.
feel it made me feel a little bit sad when we got there because we got there late, and then and I know that wasn't the intention, and the story I made up was that it was that I wasn't important enough to listen to, and I don't come up with good suggestions. And I know that's not true because I know that you do generally listen to me. I know that whenever I want to offload, you're there for me. I also know that you're a genius. So whenever you come up with options and suggestions which are not rigid, like they're brilliant. And I just felt on this one occasion for me, it was important to me, and I felt a bit sad that I didn't feel heard. Um, so I was just wanting to get that off my chest. It doesn't change the relationship between you and I. Um, and I just actually want to thank you for not interrupting me right now, letting me just speak.
So great job. Well, actually, I'll continue in character for a second. Sorry you had that experience. I wouldn't want you to ever feel like you weren't important in the relationship or that I didn't respect your time or what you were feeling. And I'm really grateful actually that you shared this with me because I could sense something was off even while we were at the park. And now I kind of know what was going on. I thought maybe it was the stale pretzel or something, but now I know it was actually the drive.
Amazing. Well, thank you, and thank you for being aware.
How was that?
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't giving you space to speak. It's just in my flow. So I don't know if that was helpful or not. But then although I realized it was just a whole conversation I was having in my own head out loud, and it had nothing to do with you, and there was no back or forth, and I emptied my trash can. And you, no, I emptied in, you were holding the trash can, and I emptied into the trash can. Um, yeah.
You
So
know,
yeah,
go ahead.
I also felt you know when Sarah gave me that feedback at the beginning, I think you all three of you gave me the feedback about it was really fluffy. I do that. I don't get to the point, and I'm very nice about it because it's always be really nice or be a bitch, which is why the masculine bitch came out towards the end. I was like, um, so it was interesting that that was the feedback. So yeah, real time. Thank you.
You're welcome. And
Amazing.
that's the reason we do it this way, so we can experience here's how I do things normally. Now try a new structure and then practice that over and over and over so that we get better every time. And by the way, we notice people come on and they'll use the structure the first round because they've been here a few times. And then there's still ways to improve it. Constant improvement. So great job.
It's funny that you mentioned that it felt like you weren't giving him any space to have a two-way conversation, and yet this was 2 minutes. And how
Mm.
often we go rambling on our story way beyond 2 minutes, and it now that's not really giving the space, right? But like you've contained it so well, and it took such a short amount of time.
I also felt right in the beginning, this is important to her. I'm not gonna interrupt. I actually want to hear what's going on because your energy was more aligned with that. This is a problem right now. I need to get this energy out. I need to be able to share what's going on in my heart. And I experienced you as more connected, right? From here. The first time I was feeling like, okay, she's up in her head, and it was all over the place. This time
Yeah.
it was concise.
So let's bring up Sarah again, and then we'll go to Brian for some feedback. So Sarah, what was great? What could be even better?
Let's just go with what's great on this one
Okay.
and a score.
Okay.
Sabah, amazing. I really, just like John said, it really felt like you were talking from your heart. It honestly almost seemed as if you had just gone through this experience and you were really in your heart and wanting to just let him know why this was important to you. Um, and I felt like you kept it very much in just this was the experience that I had, and there was no blame. And that, I think you did mention like we were late, but then you went back to, but I know that, you're a genius, and I know that everything was fine, and I know that, just I started playing these stories in my head, and you were just very connected with, I'm feeling at peace, and I just want to share with you. And yeah, if I was sitting in John's shoes, I think same thing. Like I wouldn't have wanted to interrupt you because you were flowing very nicely from thought to thought. So yeah, well done. 9.5.
9.5.
Thank you.
Excellent. Brian.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say 9. And Saba, like, I guess I just say like the way that you're speaking, like I haven't talked to you in like 5 months, but I sense a distinct difference in a good way from how I heard and saw you speaking like 4 or 5 months ago. So if everyone here has been speaking to you on a regular basis, I see a shift, like a big shift. It's a lot more confidence, and you just seem more pleased, so that's always going to lead to better communication. you know if we don't feel in good energy, or we got a bone to pick, it's going to probably result in a fight, but you just felt really positive.
Great.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I would give you a 9 too, Saba. I thought what was extraordinary is that there was no sugarcoating of the real issue. And I was so impressed that you got straight to the root of it, which I understood it as I didn't feel like I was being listened to, and then my opinion didn't I didn't feel valued, or my opinion didn't matter, right? And that was like, now I get the gravity of the situation. It was a lot, it was a lot more meaningful of a conversation, and you got straight to it. There was like no dancing around it, so that was great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
same. So I'd give you a 9.5. I mean, what a turnaround where you got so much clarity for me in the experience. And again, it was the emotional connection that I was actually feeling. It's like you were here saying, hey, this is really bothering me. And because of just how I think, if my woman is sad, I know she's scared. If she's scared, then I'll do anything for her. I'm going to really listen and be present with her. And that's what I was feeling from you was the same. So I made this connection in my own brain of, okay, she's scared. Let's be connected. Let's be present. Take out the funny part. All of that went away. It wasn't even, it was really being authentic. Like I wasn't pretending in that moment. You didn't provide me that space to bring in that fun energy. So it kept me grounded. Great job. Outstanding. It, I just wonder how would it impact your life if this was how you resolved conflict with people in daily life?
Oh, it's yeah, I think removing the fluff is a big thing. And no offense to men, but generally you guys want us to get to the point quicker. So especially with men. That was 2 minutes. I didn't realize it had been 2 minutes. The timer went off. I was like, I thought I'd have space afterwards to then have a conversation. So it's interesting when you have so much to say. 2 minutes, very quick. So I think you deal with it, you get to the point, and you don't long it out, because then you create stories and then there's too much conversation back and forth.
You exactly got it. The stories tend to get longer, not the facts. The facts are very brief, right? The logic part when we say, and I know that's not true because ends up being really short statements. But all the story about that we made up about why this happened becomes really long, and that's where all the pain is, which is why we advise keep the story short and extend the logic. Start stacking all these positive beliefs. And again, my sense of it is that you almost felt resolved before you even got to the request. It was like, actually, I'm kind of good. Just like I felt heard.
Because you realize it's all about you and your own story in your own head. It's
Yeah, that's exactly the reason we have this structure. See, the conflict is not with the other person. The conflict is in here. We resolve it here, the conflict's resolved. That's the reason we say anybody can resolve any conflict in just a few minutes following the structure because they only need to resolve it with themselves.